I always feel a shiver go up my spine, Rich, when I hear this recording in progress.
Still get nervous, huh?
Stage fright is almost insurmountable.
Happy Friday, everyone. Rich Swerbinsky with the Mortgage Collaborative, broadcasting live from Miami Beach. This is not a Zoom background. Could be the worst sound quality, but the best visuals maybe of any rundown yet. Broadcasting live from TMC Days, Miami Nights, the rundown with Rob and Rich, where we take you into the weekend by running through all the latest news, speculation, uh, anticipation of anything and everything going on in or affecting the mortgage industry. And this week, happy to be joined also here in Miami. Just got in, late flight. Rob Chrisman. Rob, good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. I wish that I had gotten here earlier so we could have share the backdrop, but suffice it to say that you're on one side of the hotel and I'm looking at the parking garage.
It's a big property. Yeah, it's like a 12-minute walk from the registration desk to my room, but I'm sure we'll share more than a couple cold beverages together this week. So
Yeah. My room is actually adjacent to the check-in desk, so I didn't have a long hike.
that's right. You're probably in like a villa, private villa or something with the A-listers.
No, no. In
So
fact, if you hear noise, it's the janitors coming in and out.
I already see some noise in the chat about is Rob's bracket busted. My Buckeyes, I got to mention, just a dominating defensive performance today. Everybody and their mother picked Loyola to beat the Buckeyes. Buckeyes held them to 41 points, 26% shooting. One of the most impressive defensive performances I've seen 30, 40 years of watching the tournament. So good start to the day for me. So Rob, you a bracket guy?
I used to love it, but I'm not. I haven't been paying attention, so no. I wish you the best.
Well, I know TMC co-founder David Kittle crying in his bourbon for sure this morning after his beloved Kentucky Wildcats taken down by the 15 seed St. Peter's. So it's a wild start to the tournament. My final four: Gonzaga, UCLA, Arizona, Wisconsin, for the record. My final four. So I saw somebody mention it in the chat. So we'll see how it all plays out. But good day for the stock market. Good day for my Buckeyes. I'm in Miami. If you're a lender and are not a TMC member, why is the only question I have. These are the best conferences, especially with everything that's going on in the industry right now. Very excited to just sit in and engage in conversations 3-4 days with our lenders and ways that they're tackling and addressing the ever-changing business climate. So we're in Chicago in September. So not a TMC member, get on the train and see us in Chicago in September. So, but Rob, let's go ahead and get into it. And as always, any questions, comments, thoughts, already have had some flow into the chat. Please feel free to opine and we'll incorporate the show. Got to start with the Federal Reserve. Fed meets this week, raises a quarter point. There was some speculation. Will it be a quarter? Will it be a half? It was a quarter. But on the other side of the coin, they publicly came out and said they plan to hike 6 more times this year, plan to hike 3 more times next year, caused a spike in the 10-year, got as high as about 2.25 at one point this week. I think it was a 2.15 or something last time I checked. So rates continue to be the big topic. And I think not just, historically they're still low, but because the impact that the rate hike we've seen these last 60 days is having on our industry, all the people that refinanced in the twos, and just the impact on the purchase market because of already very tepid affordability, what higher rates have done to that. So Rob, your thoughts on the Fed and their announcement and move this week?
So Rich, I thought you were going to throw the trade deficit and Ukraine and South American cocoa prices into that question. That was a relatively straightforward question, and I appreciate the straightforwardness. I also appreciate the straightforwardness of the Fed. You like that transition there. The Fed has been nothing if not transparent as to what they are thinking for the last few years, and I think the market appreciates that very much. It's nice to know what they're thinking and what they're seeing. The Fed presidents are out speaking regularly, so it really wasn't a surprise at all with their move this week. And when you were talking about the Fed plans to do this, do that, I was going to interject and say, well, the Fed has plans until it doesn't, because frankly, if this war in Ukraine gets carried away, or we have a new pandemic strain, because it seems like every week or two the press is out there barking about some new strain or some new variant, and we don't know what's going to happen there. So there are some things that can possibly lead to lower rates, or the Fed changing its plans for future rate increases. So it's important to be flexible and not necessarily bank on what the Fed is seeing and saying now. Granted, the Fed, I mean, they are dummies, and they have a very good handle on the economy, obviously, otherwise they wouldn't be where they are. So the signs that they are seeing continue to point to higher rates. And it's something that we should, as an industry, just accept. And I think that anybody in the last few months who hasn't said that we're going to see higher rates, or anybody who is talking to their sales manager and saying, you know, boss, I just want rates back down, and I promise I'll knock it out of the park. You know, that conversation is not being had. The conversation that's out there that I'm hearing, and I've done a fair amount of traveling. I was just in Memphis this morning in the last few days, was, okay, rates are going to go up. What are we going to do about it? What kind of programs are we going to offer? And what are our margins like? And what's our capital markets crew going to do about it? Because rates impact the entire industry. It's not as if your competitor is immune to higher rates or margins going down, costs going up. And so what I'm hearing lenders and originators out there say is, rates are going to go up. Fine. What are we going to do about it? Where are my referrals coming from? What kind of customer service can I provide that's better than the internet? And let's get through this. Because let's face it, even though there aren't any for sale signs out there across the nation, I think I counted 12 in the last 2 weeks. At some point, people want to buy houses that don't own a house. And regardless of if rates are at 3.5 or 3.75 or 4 or 4.25, they still want to put their kids in a good school district. And frankly, we're nearing the late spring and summer buying season, and a traditional time when people move, if they have children, especially, to a different school district. So they want a house in a good school district. They want a house near their parents, or the parents want a house near the kids. Whatever it is, people are going to be moving, and transactions will be occurring. The question is, as an originator and as a lender, what are you going to do about it? So that's what I'm hearing and seeing out there.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes of all time, Mike Tyson: everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And, I think the Fed's got a plan now, and the plan could be different tomorrow, quite frankly, given everything that's going on. But they have been bent over backwards to be transparent, to try to lay out what they're thinking and exactly where their mindset is. And but so many moving parts right now. And you mentioned the looming spring buying season and news that came out today. The existing home sale data came out today for February, and it was a big miss for the worse. Down 7.2% month over month from January. The number of existing home sales, not new home sales, so not new builds, but existing, over 100,000 less than they thought it would be. And what's significant about that is it's February closing. So this is largely December contracts when rates were 3.25. So it's caused a lot of people to come out. Some of the NAR's economists and some others already have come out today with some concern that this is a number that is a little bit concerning. I can't remember. I think these upcoming numbers in March and April are really going to be watched very closely. And of note, inside the numbers, homes between 100 and 250,000, down 26% year over year. Speaking to what we've been talking about, the haves and the have-nots, absolutely no affordable homes right now to be bought in America. Also of note, 69% of all contracts, I forget what the official definition of a bidding war is, but we're in a bidding war. This is a higher percentage than last April and May when all hell was breaking loose and we heard all the stories about crazy bidding wars. So a really eye-opening existing home sale number today. And Rob, I don't know if you saw that or had any thoughts on it.
My team is going through the numbers as we speak. So before I forget, Rich, I got to tell the folks on the computer here, two things. First, you may want to take a decent photograph of that background and have it as your background going forward rather than the Serbinsky den with, college sports paraphernalia and so forth. The second thing, especially when you have those Christmas lights up. Second thing is my advice before you get anybody who's coming to this event, go to the bar, get a little cocktail or three to go, because you're going to be waiting in that checkout line or check-in line for an hour. Or run to the line and send your friend back to the bar to get drinks. Because I'll tell you, Rich, we could almost have, sessions tomorrow or Sunday in the checkout area, and we get a bigger audience given the check-in situation there. So just be forewarned and have your credit card and driver's license handy. So regarding the home sales number, it's important for people to remember how statistics come about. And I'm not going to tell you all the statistical jokes that are out there, but if something like existing home sales are down, is it because there are no existing homes for sale? Or is it because rates have gone up? Or is it because the weather has delayed some of these things like inspections? You can't inspect a basement if there's 4 feet of snow in front. So there are different reasons why, other than people don't want to buy existing homes, why those statistics might show that. And I think it would be interesting. A couple of months ago, I noted that there was less than one listing per realtor in the United States. And I've been meaning to go back and look at that, try to find the current statistic about how many listings there are out there. And like I said, I don't think there are any for sale signs, or none that I've seen. And so you get into a situation where people want to buy a home. There is no inventory. When one pops up, to your point, suddenly there's a bidding war. And once again, a lot of potential buyers have saved up large sums of money. The savings rate is still very strong in the United States. We were setting all kinds of records last year and in 2020 because people weren't spending money. They weren't going to Disney World. They weren't dining out. They were saving money in many cases for a home, for a down payment. And as those savings grew, obviously, you get to a point where if the parents chip in some money or whatever might happen, they can buy homes with all cash, which doesn't help us as an industry, but nonetheless, in a bidding war, cash goes a long way. And so there's all kinds of things that are going on out there and all kinds of things that might go into those numbers that you need to be cognizant of. But yeah, it's once again a statistic just that tells us the current environment it's rough. You must be very pleased with yourself having bought a home last year. Must be very happy about that. So congratulations again on that.
Yeah, it's in hindsight was well timed. So because also of note this week, Zillow came out, really interesting stat. Average home price appreciation of the average home in America last year, $53,000. The average income of an average American last year annually, $50,000. So the value of the average home went up more than the average American makes in a year. That definitely has never happened in the history of America. The national media, people in our industry, finally starting to come into tune with reality, what we've been talking about for a year now, that home values are a runaway train and there's nothing stopping it. All the big economists revising their projections up for home price appreciation. This year, Zillow went up from 11 to 17%, Fannie from 7 to 12, and all the others are starting to fall in line now. Nicole Friedman from the Wall Street Journal, they're fantastic housing and finance columnist who I'm trying to get to come on the show, wrote a great piece this week about this dynamic, really starting to catch the attention of everyday Americans, but it plays into this picture. I think that what is really constricting the purchase market, and the demand is there, the supply is not, obviously, but I think there's just so many wannabe step-up buyers that are in a home at 2.5%, that are maybe willing, able to buy a nicer home and have been planning on it. But the combination of the appreciation of higher priced homes combined with the difference of current interest rate and would-be interest rate, it just makes it too penal. And this is something we saw coming for a long time, but it's starting to manifest itself in the numbers. We'll really start to see as we see the spring buying season numbers, March, April, May. But my projection is, I don't think it's going to be pretty. Pretty from the standpoint that it's not going to meet expectations or what we need as healthy activity to regulate home sales and home prices.
I don't disagree at all.
So, and then on the flip side too, this week, which makes it worse as well, CoreLogic came out with the report. Rents are rising 5 times faster right now than they were a year ago. Year over year, it's 13%. But if you look at the month-to-month numbers these last 3 or 4 months, it indicates that we're going to be even higher than that. And of course, right? Why would they not be? Institutional investors owning an inordinate percentage right now of investment properties. Home values are through the roof. People, to your point, you always make, got to live somewhere. So rents just keep going up, up, up. And it's kind of fanning the flames. And, it's obviously impacting home values of for sale homes as well.
Yeah. What can you say, right? I think that, as I said earlier, the people who are out there, a lot of people in this industry have been around for a few. This isn't their first goat rodeo. I love that term, goat rodeo, in case you haven't noticed, because it's such a great visual. But if I was going to host a rodeo, it would have goats. So this isn't the first business cycle that many people have been through. And it's almost as if the originators who are out there, the other day I was speaking in front of an audience in Memphis, and we were talking about interest rates. And Katie was saying, well, when I got started, rates were, 18%. And that kind of conversation infuriates a lot of people. Doesn't infuriate me because she was keeping things in perspective. But if you go back a ways, we've been in a great rate environment. We knew we were going to come out of this great rate environment. Rates weren't going to be, in the 2s forever for 30-year fixed rate mortgages. And so even back then, even in 2020, the good originators that I spoke to, I would say, what have you been up to? And they'd say, rates aren't going to last down here. So I went to to the extent that they could during the pandemic, I was visiting with real estate agents, or I was talking to, remodeling contractors, or I was, talking to plumbers or whoever they were, hot tub salespeople, because if somebody goes in to get a hot tub, they may need a home equity loan. So I want to be there for them. And I was, what else were you doing? I'm beating up my capital markets person because we need a good HELOC. We need a second. We need down payment assistance. So back in the last couple of years, it's not as if people woke up, President's Day weekend and said, oh my gosh, rates are going to go up. I better do something about it. The good originators and the good lenders already had things in place to prepare for this. And if you look ahead toward the summer and the autumn, I mean, the year goes fast enough without us talking about the autumn already. But if you look ahead a few months, yeah, rates are going to go up. Hopefully this Ukraine war gets, finished. And by the way, I got to put a plug in for a video I had in my joke section. Rich, I know you're busy traveling and all that, but if you have a chance, look at that video in my commentary at the bottom of the day. It is spot on in terms of Russia and Ukraine and so forth. But anyway, hopefully that gets resolved, in which case oil prices will go back down and the farmers will be able to plant, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, be deflationary in terms of the world economy, but that'll just mean more economic growth around the world and higher rates. So may as well just convince yourself or tell yourself, we're going to have higher rates. What is the impact going to be on my area in terms of homes for sale or people? What are they going to be thinking? And let's just move forward. Let's deal with it. And from a lender's perspective, I continue to hear companies cutting costs, becoming more efficient, adding technology. I like to call that, Rich, a technology stack, because either that or the technology infrastructure, if I get liquored up enough. So this technology, interestingly enough, though, next week we have the release from the MBA of the latest set of costs, how much it costs to originate a loan. The last figure was up over $9,000. The interesting thing that I'm going to bring up probably at our event on Tuesday is we add all this technology and the cost per loan doesn't seem to be going down. What's going on? Why does it cost that much money to originate a loan? I probably will write to the MBA. I know some folks there in terms of what do you have a graph of the breakdown of some of these costs and why hasn't the cost gone down? Because it needs to. Otherwise you're in trouble. It's not as if we are making furniture in this industry and you hand rub the mahogany wood to get a nice burnish on it and take a lot of care and hand this and hand that. It's an assembly line. And so unless you get costs down, you're going to be in trouble. It's not like handcrafted mortgages that command more of a premium when they're hand done on a yellow piece of paper. You want an assembly line kind of mentality. And unless you get there, your cost to produce is going to stay high. And that's not a recipe for success.
I think it will. It'll probably be a couple of years until lenders see real ROI and reduce costs because of tech. I think it's been a combination of so many tech vendors, a lot of them in startup, need to make money mode. The last 2 years, lenders were making money.
Hey, Rich,
yeah.
Hold that thought.
There's not a drug dog in your room, is there?
Not yet.
Oh, boy. But the point I was making, the consolidation of the industry, I think is going to force tech vendors to sharpen the pencil a little bit. And then I think also the automation tech is getting better. It wasn't there a couple of years ago when the pandemic hit. True automation of human tasks, it's starting to get there. And that will have a big impact. But bottom line, lenders just had to throw bodies at the volume once the pandemic hit. But we'll see what happens to costs. But I'm excited to hear the lenders talk about that topic this week at our conference, just efficiency and emerging tech and what does the operations model of the future look like. Rob, I thought maybe a drug dog was in your room to keep the streak going, but what was it? What'd you get?
So this
VIP fruit basket brought up by the Fontainebleau staff.
Rich, hey, the Rolex game. Thank you, TMC. I can't believe that I got this amazing watch just for this. No, I'll tell you something funny. I mean, this is my life, right? So the other night I lose, unfortunately, my credit card somewhere in the hotel, and then nobody from the hotel sees the credit card, and sure enough, I freeze it and get a new card, and then sure enough, like an hour later, somebody tries to use it, in which case the credit card company alerts me that, hey, somebody tried to use your credit card. I wish I was there to see that person do it, but I told them where I was going to be, and now I have a new credit card, which means that if they accept credit cards for posting bail here in Miami Beach, I'm all set. So
Shortage of places to get in trouble here in Miami, where we are broadcasting live, the rundown with Rob and Rich live from Miami Beach at the TMC Days Miami Nights event, slated to start tomorrow with some collaboration labs that we do. I think we got a party tomorrow night, Saturday night. Really gets kicked off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Almost 500 members at TMC will be in attendance.
Like five.
So, which is
That's a lot.
We were 391 in Terranea, and we were expecting, I don't know, 415, 420 for this. So great turnout, and very excited to engage and listen into the conversations with our members as the year comes to the quarter pole. And a crazy start to the year, but perspective's sake, on the ride in, I was looking at some flight in this morning, looking at some historical data. To your point, like, we've been there before. This is a cycle. I tend to sensationalize things. You tend to be more like, we've been here before. We'll get through it. And it was 18 and 19. Industry only did, I think it was $1.6 trillion and $1.7 trillion those 2 years, which, we've done over $4 trillion the last 2 years. The projections for this year are, 2.8. It's not going to hit that in a million years, and people are starting to revise them down. But even if it's 2 trillion, still better than years that we just had 3 or 4 years ago. Rates were in the low fives. I forgot rates were that high in 18 and 19, but rates have not been higher than 5.25%, 5 3/8%, really since, like, I think it was like 06 or 07. But it'll be interesting to see how lenders are attacking some new challenges that have presented themselves the beginning part of the year, and some existing challenges that we knew would be part of 2022. But Rob, I don't know if there's anything in particular you're curious to hear talk about. Some things, just the recruiting climate right now is crazy. I every time I refresh LinkedIn, there is so much movement of people right now in the industry, which is not surprising, but it's the healthiest clip I can remember it being. Purchase strategies, generating new business, efficiency, using data to recruit and to mine new business, if it's cash out refinance opportunities of former customers, or ways to use predictive data to get in front of purchase people and purchase opportunities. But
what a great time to be a minority loan officer who's doing 3 or 4 million a month, and it's 80 or 90% purchase. What a great time to be alive. What a great time to be in the industry, rather than, I'll be blunt here, rather than a middle-aged Caucasian refi jockey who, is tired. So look, I don't know how many politically incorrect things I said there, but I'm sure I'll be hearing about it, because some people just wake up and they decide what they're going to be offended with that day. So I don't. I think that companies are being very, very selective. They can channel their recruiting in very specifically. It's much more the rifle shot than the grenade in terms of figuring out who they want to talk to. But these loan officers, they're hounded, and it's almost as if you think about human nature, we're kind of going down a path, and I know we're running out of time here, but if you think about human nature, a borrower will oftentimes ask their friends, "Hey, where did you get your loan?" I'm going to buy a house. I need somebody. I just don't want to go on the internet. Where did you get a loan? And so it's a referral-based system. When I talk to recruiters, headhunters, since I'm throwing out politically incorrect terms. And by the way, when did elderly become a bad term? And when did we lose the term beauty shop? I'm sounding like Andy Rooney here. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, loan officers oftentimes they get to know people in their network or people in the local, other loan officers in the business. They go to local, like, in Tennessee, there's, events at Johnson City and Chattanooga, Nashville, Memphis. So you get to know other loan officers. And so recruiting is more word of mouth than a cold phone call or an email that you figure, okay, well, they found my name on some list. The recruiters are out there visiting people, hey, I just wanted to shake your hand, no hard sales pitch, and see them again at an event, and see them again and again, and eventually build up a relationship. Recruiters tell me that a decent recruit, when it comes time to actually, move somewhere, they may have known them for years and years. And so it's just not they looked at MMI or they looked at whatever and they shot him an email and, he's coming on board next week. It's not like that. These things take a long, long time. So yes, as Edwin's saying there, it's a long game. So yeah, there's a lot of things, a lot of people moving. I received some very interesting emails from people who are looking to make changes or who want to hire or want to do different things. It definitely is a different environment than it was 6 months ago. I think we'll continue to hear about some interesting things going forward, and you'll probably hear about a fair number in the hallways here at the event.
Yeah, really looking forward to the conversation because so much going on right now. A new administration that has a much different stance towards housing than the previous one. Obviously, a different business climate than we've seen the last 2 years. The pandemic is hopefully subsiding, and it's just every year is different, the mortgage industry, but the stark difference between the last couple of years and what the next couple of years are going to be like, I mean, it is just complete U-turn. So should be interesting to hear the discussions this week. And Rob, almost out of time. I know what you have going on this weekend. You're at TMC Days, Miami Nights, and our own Sarah Wood dropped in the chat. Our next conference at the Lowe's, next to brand new hotel. It's awesome in Chicago, September 25 to 27. The cool part about this next conference in Chicago, we have a complete buyout of the hotel. Like 90% of the sleeping rooms are going to be TMC conference people. So, like people,
what other kind of rooms are there?
Slippers, it's going to be a great atmosphere. Chicago, obviously a great city. So I think we can team up and pressure the remaining 10% to go to the JW or something. And you're headed to the Miami Heat game tonight. I wanted to join you. We got a team dinner. I didn't want to miss, but that'll be fun tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing LeBron and Dwayne Wade and the other guys on the Heat. Wait a minute. Somebody's telling me they're not on the Miami Heat anymore. Never mind.
Cam Amadeo. So, but should be fun. And looking forward to catching up with you in person this weekend. And many of our members, a lot of whom I see on the call. And
we're sunscreen.
Yeah. And we're doing the rundown live again, Tuesday afternoon during lunch. Our friends from Black Knight and Optimal Blue, Mark Deterra, is going to join us for a great conversation during the lunch session.
Yeah, we'll actually have somebody good looking and entertaining on here for change.
And then next Friday we'll recap the conference and have a chance to bring you the pulse of the lender member community as
we're doing this again next Friday.
Are we taking a week off? Or I think we're doing. I'll double check. I think we are. So, but. I thought I
was getting a paid vacation hour next week.
Really? Maybe you are. Well, I'll double check. I'll consult your team. We'll get it all squared away, your handlers, and we'll get you informed. So, but most importantly, many thanks to our loyal listeners and viewers for joining us every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and looking forward to continuing to do this every Friday. Keep you plugged in to what's going on in the mortgage industry, and can catch this on podcast where the majority of you digest it. Subscribe to TMC Connect on Apple, Spotify, wherever you download your podcasts from. And of course, these also get uploaded to our YouTube channel after the fact. But Rob, thank you for hustling to make it on. And
bad traffic. Not only is the check-in line long, the traffic coming over the bridge. I mean, it is what it is, as people say. Just take that into consideration. Don't plan any close meetings to landing at MIA.
Yeah. And many
Yeah.
thanks, Edwin and the others, and nice chats in the comments. And Rob, looking forward to trying to keep up with your drinking pace this weekend. I've been practicing, working out, so we'll see how I do. So
A TMC member sent me a nice article on Irish exits, Rich. So I'll be keeping an eye on you at some of these festivities.
yeah, I like to drink, but I also like to be coherent in the morning. The older I get, so the Irish goodbye, my famous move. You'll see me at a cocktail party or a bar, and then I'll just be gone. So, but
like the wind. All
wind.
right, well, we'll see you in the hallways.
Until whenever we come at you next, have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see a lot of you this weekend. See you soon, Rob. Take care.